There is a dark streak in the history of the Russian oil refining industry. It all started with the drone strikes on oil refineries. In March 2024 alone, UAVs attacked oil facilities at least 14 times, writes the BBC. Factories in Bryansk, Leningrad, Volgograd, Kursk, Voronezh, Nizhny Novgorod, Oryol, Ryazan, Rostov, Samara, Saratov and Krasnodar regions were hit.
Petroleum production was significantly reduced, minus 14 to 17% is such a very strong blow. Now, due to the restructuring of all logistics to Asia, the demand for fuel for all these transportations has increased very much. The shoulder has lengthened. Logistics is now much more difficult. We all can see how transportation by road has grown. So why can this be a very strong blow to the economy? Because interruptions in gasoline, interruptions in diesel will greatly slow down all this. We are now very dependent on this supply chain to Asia.
In addition to problems with petroleum supplies to other countries, interruptions in the domestic market began in Russia. Hoping to resolve the situation on March the 1st, Moscow introduced a ban on gasoline exports for a period of 6 months. Traders said the ban could be extended if the crisis was not resolved. In addition, Reuters reports that the Kremlin is forced to ask for petroleum abroad.
Russia has asked Kazakhstan to stand ready to supply it with 100,000 tons of gasoline in case of shortages. 3 industry sources told Reuters. One of the sources said a deal on using reserves for Russia has already been agreed. Russian Energy Ministry did not reply to a request for comment. Neighboring Belarus has already agreed to help Russia with gasoline supply. Reuters agency reports.
Then the Russian oil refining industry was hit by a dam failure in the Orenburg region. The work of the Orsk oil refinery had to be suspended on April the 7th, and the very next day it became known that the management of the Ilsky refinery in the Krasnodar territory had postponed the launch of the petroleum production complex. It's all to blame for the Western sanctions imposed on Russia for the war against Ukraine.
The Ilsky refinery, located in the Krasnodar territory, has postponed the commissioning of a gasoline production complex from 2024 to 2026 due to the refusal of foreign partners to fulfill contractual obligations. The refinery said in a statement, Russian processors have encountered difficulties in maintaining the operation of factories due to the departure of foreign companies amid tightening Western sanctions against Moscow. The total oil refining capacity at the Ilsky oil refinery is 6.6 million tons per year. The Moscow Times publication writes.
Drone attacks, flooding and sanctions have all reduced petroleum production in Russia, thus wholesale prices have increased. Experts warn that after them a rise in gasoline prices for retail consumers should also be expected.
We will begin to feel this at small independent chains of gas stations. They can stall a bit, roughly speaking, on the profits of previous periods, realizing that the situation is politically difficult. But some of the independent retail players will begin to go bankrupt. Large companies, realizing that this is a politically important story, have their own profit for some time. They can subsidize it, but this is a temporary story. One way or another, retail prices must inevitably follow wholesale prices. Otherwise, losses will accumulate somewhere and someone will go bankrupt.
In March of this year, petroleum prices in Russia hit their 6-month high. In the near future, they may grow even more, experts are sure. Reported by Diana Kolesnik, Larisa Zubenko, UATV News.